Hey, it's Patrick from JP Cycles, and today I'm going to be showing you how to swap the handlebars on your Indian Challenger. We're going to be using a set of 14-inch KST bars for this job, and to get started we're going to have to do a couple of things. We're going to pop the seat off, we're going to take the outer fairing off, and you could slide the gas tank back, but we're going to go ahead and take ours off. We've already made videos showing you how to take off the outer fairing and the gas tank, so I'll link you to those and we'll get to work. Okay, the next step is going to be to unplug our handlebar wiring harness, and it's on the clutch side of the bike and it's the higher up plug. We're going to unplug it, then we're going to go around to the controls on the bike and we're going to start disassembling the controls, taking off the perches and then taking apart the switch housings. There we go. I'm going to take a 5mm, we're going to take these out and we're just going to let this hang down here real nice and easy. So when we take the master cylinder loose, you don't want to let this like flip upside down. You want to keep it as level as possible. So when I take this loose, I'm going to try to find a place to put it, maybe where I can zip tie it to keep it straight up and down. A little rubber strap here, probably gonna have to pop off. Save that, we might need it later. Now I'm just gonna move it over and I'm gonna zip tie it up here just to keep it straight up and down. So next we're gonna take a T20 and we're gonna pull out our 2 screws to take our switch housing apart. These should just slip right off there like that. So we have 2 more T20 screws here and here. And then this inside of this switch housing should snap open like this and allow this grip to come off. So we're going to take our T20s out on the clutch side. So we have to unplug this little plug here. You need a tiny pick to put right in there. We're going to pull this out. Just like that. We have to take these 2 T20s out and we'll be able to open this up and then pull that plug out. Okay, we're gonna take a 19mm wrench and we're gonna grab onto these riser bolts here and loosen them up. A wrench is probably gonna be easier than a socket because it'll give you a little more throw in there. And you're just gonna have to be patient and kind of work it a few turns at a time to get them out of there. There we go. So now we have to feed that plug through the fairing to get the bars all the way out. Okay, now we have the bars off, we gotta finish up a few things. We're gonna unplug these two small plugs with our pick to get rid of our switch housing. We're gonna pull the throttle sensor out and unplug it. There's a weight in the clutch side of this that we're gonna have to take out and put in the new bar. Then we're gonna take a 6mm, take our riser clamp loose, and pull all of our wires out of our bar so we can put them in the new bar. Okay, so now we have our new bars sitting here and we have to get our wiring harness back through. So it's pretty easy to tell the throttle side. The throttle side has the extra plug on it here that actually plugs into your electronic throttle. So that's gonna go into the right-hand side and the other plug will go through here. Now the easiest way to do this, I like to take a piece of string. You can use a shoestring if it's long enough. I have some paracord here and I'm gonna use compressed air and blow the string through here. Then I'll tape the wire to it and I'll pull it back through. These Comanche bars are nice and fat. They're 1.5 inches, so that'll help. We do have the point up here, which can be a little bit of a bear, but like I said, we're gonna blow this air through here. It's good to start the cord where the switch housing attaches here, and then blow the air through the end of the bar. If you can't get it to go through, something that's helpful, you can tape up the ends. Tape up the other ends of the bar, and that way the only place the air has to escape is where you want the string to go. So if you're having trouble blowing it through there, just tape up the ends and that'll work. Okay, so I got this set up here to kind of show you how to do this. This riser setup has to be done before we slide the bars up in there. And it's important how this sits like forward to back, because on your handlebars, the switches are already permanently kind of clocked into a position. There's a peg on them and a hole in the bar. So you don't want your switch housing, if you roll your bars too forward, your switches will be facing up in the air. So a good rule of thumb, at least on this bike, is we've set this riser clamp about 3/8 of an inch above the cutout right here. I highly recommend you just kind of slide it in there and look at it. That's what I did. I just kind of took a couple of attempts at it. But with this set about 3/8 from this edge, that puts our bars, so our switch housings are straight on facing us. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna put the bottom screws, the ones that are closest to me on the bike, I'm gonna just run them in loosely. I'm gonna tighten these to 18 foot-pounds. Then I'm gonna put the bars in, I'm gonna put the riser bolts in and tighten them to 60 foot-pounds, and then after that, we'll retighten the back ones to 18 foot-pounds. So before I get everything tightened up and torqued on here, I want to make sure I have my wiring harness routed right. So it should be over the top of the triple tree. And then we're going to take this plug right here. We're going to put it through that hole right there, go to the other side, and bring it through. We might have to pull a little slack through in a little bit, but for right now we just want to get it routed in the correct spot. Oh yeah. Okay, don't forget to go back and torque those last two riser bolts. They come in from the bottom so you can get to them. We're gonna go to 18 foot-pounds. So now we're gonna put this bar end weight back in the clutch side. This is important because this will help keep some vibration out of your bars. Make sure it's greased up good, make sure your O-rings aren't torn up. You may have to smack it a little to get it to go in there. We're gonna put that in, then we're gonna go put our electronic throttle back in on the other side. We're gonna plug it in and slide it in and line it up with the notches. So we're gonna plug this in and slide this down this way a little bit. We got plenty of slack so we can push this back. Really, there's only one way this will go in here. There's a small tab here, two fat tabs here, so you can only put this in one way so you can't screw it up. So we're gonna put the right-hand switch housing on and make sure that you put the hinge back together up here. That snaps together and it clamps over the top like that. And then when you plug these back in, on our bike, the white one wasn't used. The big plug is pretty self-explanatory, it goes here, but the small black plug goes in the bottom plug. So now that we have this in place, we have to slip our grip on. Make sure you have the Indian on the grip so you can read it and it's horizontal. We're gonna slide this on and then we're gonna snap the electronics here around it, and then we're gonna put our screws in at 10 inch-pounds, and I'll show you where those go here in a second. Okay, so now these two Torx screws are going to go in this corner in this corner down here. This little white plug that we're not using will tuck up out of the way and it'll fit in the clamshell. Right now we're gonna run screw in here, our T20 Torx, and torque them to 10 inch-pounds. So now we're gonna put our chrome covers on. Before we do that, I wanna make sure the throttle operates nice. If there's any snags in that, go back and check your work. Now we're gonna put the chrome cover on and we're gonna torque our T20 screws again to 10 inch-pounds. In order to get our stock brake line to work, we have to take this Allen with this holder loose right here, and then up front here, there's a zip tie. We're gonna clip that. That's gonna give us enough slack to move our master cylinder up here, and then we can re-secure the line. Okay, so now we're gonna put our master cylinder on and we're gonna torque these two Allens to 70 inch-pounds. Okay, so now we're on the clutch side. It's gonna be very similar to the other side. Make sure your hinge is together and your switch housing, everything's good there. We're gonna line it up with this pinhole here. This white one isn't gonna be used. We'll plug this one in. The thing you gotta do here is you have to put your left side grip on again, make sure you can read the Indian and it's horizontal, and there's a little peg and a notch. If you line those up in there, this won't move. It's nice and tight. I'm gonna go ahead and put just a tiny bit of grip glue on ours, and then we'll torque these two T20 screws to 10 inch-pounds. That's all I'm gonna use on that. And then this will snap over the top. There. We're gonna put our clutch assembly back on. We're gonna take our little plug coming out of the clutch. We're gonna plug it back in to the bottom of the two holes that are left. We're gonna put it in the bottom hole. Then we're gonna put our clamshell on. We're just gonna finger tight. We're not gonna tighten this up just yet. You put this chrome housing on, this has to be really loose because of these 1.5 inch bars. You don't have a lot of room to move this around, so keep it pretty loose. And then we're gonna put the chrome covers on and then torque them to 10 inch-pounds. And then we're done with that. We're gonna line this up and tighten the clamshell for the clutch lever up to 70 inch-pounds. Okay, we're back around to the front of the bike. We have to plug our plug back in for our handlebar controls. Don't forget to do that. You're gonna have some big problems. We're gonna plug these in, make sure they're tucked away nice, and then I'll refer you back to the gas tank and fairing videos that I mentioned in the beginning, and that'll show you, if you don't already know how to put your gas tank back on and how to put your fairing back on. There you have it, one set of KST Comanche bars installed on our Challenger. As far as handlebar installs goes, pretty straightforward. Not too much terrible stuff in there. The bike is probably gonna fit us a lot better, be a lot more comfortable, and it looks metal. As always, have any comments or questions, drop us a comment. Go work on those motorcycles.